I think we're live. Hello? Yes? I think we're good. Hello, everyone. My name is Trups LP, and welcome to another episode of our political. Yes, we're professional.
Take two.
Yeah. Hello. Political recap stream. Joining me as always is Omegon. Say hello, Omegon.
Hello.
Did I do good? I don't think so.
You know what? We've done far worse,
Uh,
and usually it's me that does it. So it's quite alright.
Fair.
How is Trups?
Trups is good. Trups is now officially a homeowner, so Trups is happy.
Woo. I'm so happy
Woo,
for you.
indeed. No, I'm quite happy with myself.
You should
For
be.
a while it was kind of like one of those things where I was like, wow, I can't believe this is actually happening, and then it suddenly happened. Woo.
That's fantastic
Um,
news.
yeah. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Okay, before we go
Um,
anywhere, Green God, if that's Ostobsmia, hi. Night shifts vet bills and now upstairs has flooded my bathroom with water. It's been a rather poor week. Entertain me, lads. Thank you for the £5 donation. We will certainly try and do that.
yes, we will. We will indeed. Thank you. So, what is going on in the UK? We did miss last week. I do apologize for that. We had to move my closing date, which was, a bit troublesome, but
Oh, you want
easily
to...
fixable.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
UK... Okay, so I'm going to first of all get rid of the gifts because we don't need them right now. They're just me being petty. The moment I saw that first comment, I decided I'm going to download 20 images. I just typed in Trump acquitted meme, and I just took every image I could find. Yes. Okay, so the big talking points. I'm going to save one for Monday. Oh, hang on. Party Animal donated $5. Party at Trups' house. Yes.
I have been told that several times.
Get the tequila in, boys.
I like tequila.
Yeah, I don't mind some Don Julio. In the UK, there are three major things going on. One I'll say for Monday, because it's about free speech and cancel culture.
Mm-hmm.
Not even a joke.
Wow.
I don't think it'll go anywhere, but it's worth addressing because of the way it's been framed. Say for Monday. In Scotland, the SNP-related case is still ongoing. On Wednesday, Alex Salmond will be giving evidence in front of members of the Scottish Parliament. There is a decision that was made that's kind of the SNP have been considered rattled because of Alex Salmond being granted permission to give evidence. Not really true, I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're just in this position of so we are going to be democratically checked. There is yet again, though, a delay on the censored evidence, though, which is also causing problems. It's like, I just don't know what's going on anymore. I really don't. I don't get it. They're delaying over evidence, but they changed the terms to permit the evidence. There's also meant to be a decision in the Scottish Court of Session brought forward by the Forward as One group, and it's meant to determine the independence referendum, whether or not it's okay or not. Which I don't think it is personally, but I think it's more of a. If anything, it's oh, hang on. The like button donated £4. Thank you for that incredibly generous donation. Please consider smashing it.
Yes, I shall do that.
So the decision will be, or has been, it should be today actually, I didn't get an alert, as to whether or not Scotland can hold a second referendum without Westminster's consent. It should not be allowed to. It really shouldn't.
Okay.
I will quickly have a look.
Tell me why.
Because the power is not, the Scottish government does not have that power. They simply
okay.
don't. They do not have the devolved power to do that. Simply, no. I don't have anything in the news for Scottish independence referendum, so I can't say whether that will go any further. Although, Nicola Sturgeon has decided to fly the EU flags from Scottish government again. Quaint
Okay.
little. No reason for it other than for her to just
Now,
suck up.
is this Scotland's attempt to try and get back in the EU's favor and say it wasn't us, we promise? Can you take us back now? We're scared of Dad.
I think they're scared of Boris. I think maybe. I don't think the EU ever felt that Scotland was to blame because Scotland voted. I think it was like 75% to leave, to remain in the EU. Sorry, and there is a growing belief that if another independence referendum, happened now, Scotland would vote to leave. Not realising here, just because you've left does not mean you will immediately be able to join the EU, which is something I think they fail fundamentally to understand here, which means until they can meet certain criteria, because the EU have this list of principles, rules, and you have to meet all of them. It's like 30, was it 37 or 38 or something? And
I trust you.
it's based on like your economy, human rights, workers' rights. But if you just left the UK, you don't have an economy. Because your economy is derived quite predominantly, substantially, from the UK government. You have something of your own, yes, of course. But does it stand on its own? You would actually have to spend time away from the UK to prove it can. But the SNP spending policies don't help them. And so...
Is it spend more, have less?
It's spend more, blame the UK government for not giving them more. And they also have the highest tax in the UK. Because they kept increasing the taxes. And it's like, I'm sorry, okay, there are some cities that, there's a little difference, but your taxes are pretty high. Sorry, but even the UK government hammer you for that one. So, as far as that goes, I'm not entirely sure if they could rejoin straight away. I think they might, but they won't get in straight away.
They probably will try, at the very least.
I know that Turkey have been long trying to get into the EU, right? And it's quite funny, really, because they tried to force their way in by saying, if you don't let us join, we will allow all these refugees, air quotes, school children in the mid-30s, to just come straight through. The millions and millions of them that we funnel through and siphon, we'll just let them flood through. And...
weird threat, by the way.
Yes, but Turkey, to join the EU, of all the criteria, and I remember this quite well, they don't meet a single one of the criteria. Not one. And that's not a joke. They genuinely don't. And that's...
Steel Cowboy with the $99.99. Thank you for your absolutely incredible donation. And you didn't say anything, but thank you.
Spartan, is that you? Dude, thank you very much. Hope you're doing well. Haven't spoken to you in a while. Thank you. That's very kind of you. So to get back to Scotland, I don't think they'll be able to join the EU straight away. They think they can, they can't. The EU have a process. It takes years. But they still believe this. So I was going to... It was either that or the free speech thing for Monday on this channel. YouTube, for those who are listening to this on Spotify. But I want to do something different. 2 weeks in a row of Scotland. I'm getting sick of it. Fingers crossed.
I think the Scottish feel.
I was waiting for more comments from people telling me, because I'm English, that as an Englishman, I'm not allowed to talk about Scottish policy and issues and politics. Not realising here that Scotland's a part of the UK. You're a devolved administration for the UK. I can talk about you as much as I like. I could talk about any country I like. It's why I talked about Hong Kong a few weeks back. Yes. Move on from that, I guess. We've got coronavirus, obviously. In the UK, the R rate has gone down. Things are just plummeting. Fantastic news. The air quote vaccine rollout, end air quote for those who believe or don't. I don't care. the vaccine rollout as it is, they now have over 40s in this country will all be vaccinated, provided they accept it. Of course, should be done by the end of March. The government will, on the 22nd, be unveiling its plan. I know that Tony Blair, the former Prime Minister, had suggested a traffic light version, red, amber, and green. I think any tiered system is a pain in the backside. I know that schools want to be first. The Prime Minister believes that to be the right way forward. I tend to agree if you're going to indulge in this pantomime, because the kids need to go back to school. And the parents need their free time, because seriously, these children are doing my head in. I don't even have kids. They just assure that I never want my own children. Okay? And schools have decided to band together with the unions and say, "Nah, fam, we ain't opening, man. You can go suck on it." Okay, fine. Good luck with that. I'm sure we can entrust the army to go in and teach the children. I know that...
Yes, that sounds like a reasonable plan of action.
Yes.
I can't see anything wrong with this at all.
And to address Blair in the chat, why is Blair even... Rich T in the chat, sorry. Did I say Blair in the chat? Rich T in the chat.
Yes, you did.
Why is Blair even speaking, you asked? Because he was once leader of this country, and he holds a considerable amount of persuasion and power, even though he's not a politician anymore. And he also...
Though, funny enough, that kind of sentiment would exist if Donald Trump had made any kind of statement as well.
Well, he would have gone sham. But yes.
People, well, of course, but that's kind of the same sentiments. Like, why Blair? Well, why anybody who's not currently leading?
That's
really, it boils down to essentially just they had power.
They still have an opinion. They still have an opinion. John Major, former Prime Minister, very vocal Remainer when Brexit was going on, very critical of Boris Johnson. So we've got the schools as an issue. The government is more than likely going to do that. We know that furlough will be extended until July. I'll happily take my free money this time because I'm getting sick of it. I'll just put it all in savings or pay my tax off early. I really don't care at this point. I might just save it, actually. The Health Secretary has been ruled to have... he breached a legal obligation by not publishing details of contracts it had signed during the COVID pandemic. Well, during the COVID pandemic seems a weird one because it is still apparently an ongoing pandemic. So he is... the opposition had claimed that the government was awarding contracts that were plagued by lack of transparency. They were a waste and littered with cronyism. Zum, zum, zum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. These deals were worth hundreds of millions of pounds. So the Department of Health and Social Care getting a bit of a slap on the wrist here. And under the current law, the government is required to publish any contract award notice for goods or services worth more than £120,000. So he's kind of screwed up quite badly on this one. It's a pain in the backside. I personally don't care enough. When this is all over, it is more than likely he will be fired anyway. No offence to Matt Hancock, but with the handling of what's happened here, a slap on the wrist, no, Boris will reshuffle and you'll be put straight at the back with Theresa May. Not even a joke. So currently, the figures for current figures, the daily figures for infections are down, I believe, to 12,000 a day. The vaccine daily figure is hitting 450,000 vaccines a day. And people in hospital is around 19,000. I'm going to cough one moment. I like that. Sorry about that. If anyone heard, I did mute the mic. In the UK, we've had the news complain quite a lot about how the NHS is stretched, how the NHS is under strain because of coronavirus. Okay, there was an article published today. The article showed men and women as young as 20, all the way up to, twilight years, with any form of disease ranging from an STD to cancer, unable to get treatment. Some of whom dead because they weren't able to get an appointment to get treatment or be diagnosed. People instead saying, they probably just died of coronavirus. Shut up. You are the National Health Service. You have a duty of care never to turn anyone away, and you say you're under strain. Tell that to anyone who was unable to receive medical help. These numbers are not indicative of an NHS under strain. They just tell me you've prioritised them before anyone else. And that's really bad. That's a bad look for anyone. And with all these additional facilities, air quotes here, the Nightingale hospitals, that are mostly not even in use, this is even more of a damning statement, because these hospitals then... so Rich T in the YouTube chat has written, the NHS is always one day from an apocalypse. Yes, exactly that. And honestly, it's really doing my head in. I don't really see the point. Can you kindly shut up about the NHS being stretched thin? Because apparently you're still not doing your job. When we find out people with cancer can't get chemotherapy, or organ transplant recipients are unable to receive treatment of any kind, yeah, you goofed. I don't mind if someone's got chlamydia. That's too funny. I really don't care at that point. What's the treatment for that? I don't know. Haribo?
I was going to say, uncomfortable treatments, usually.
Cool. Walk of shame. Great.
A bit.
I just don't care. But when it comes to... And the numbers of those who have been unable to receive any kind of healthcare treatment because the, air quotes, NHS is stretched thin because of coronavirus, end air quotes, is getting sickening. I'm sorry, but you're not stretched thin because of that. You're stretched thin because you're incompetent, and obviously because the Conservatives do have a track record of reducing numbers. And yes, they're trying to increase numbers. I know, balancing act, blah, blah, blah. Make all the excuses you like. You haven't done your job. Your turn.
Well, I was thinking about that. I'm like, you're making a great point for why universal healthcare is a terrible idea. Don't get me wrong. I see the benefit of it, but based on how yours is going, it doesn't sound like it's very good. But that's pretty much any time a government has a complete control over X thing. You can't expect it to work well.
So I will say, for the sake of it, when it comes... prior to coronavirus, the NHS, yes, was stretched thin. There are aspects of health NHS that do run quite well. I've never had an issue with dental, ever. There are issues with having enough dentists, yes. But as far as dental treatment goes, generally not an issue. When it comes to emergency treatment, seeing a doctor or a nurse practitioner perhaps, yeah, there are issues there. Doctor appointments, you need 4 weeks. So there's an issue there. This is not as good as it looks. And we can talk about how good our service is, because it is a good service when it works. But at the moment, this is showing the massive failing of a flaw in it and failing. And I'm not blaming those who work within it. No. I blame those who introduce policy to it. Those who perhaps...
Right. I almost never... I want to be clear. I almost never blame the individual nurses or doctors or whomever for their job and doing their job to try and bring, service to these people. I don't usually blame them because it's not usually their fault. Just like there are people who will get on customer service, helplines and rage at the customer service technician over something that they can't change.
Mm-hmm.
That they never even had control over in the first place. Like, it's not their fault that your service is not currently working. Their entire job is to help it work again, but you're taking out your anger about the policy or the failures of a company on the poor technician.
Mm-hmm.
And, I want to be very clear that I'm not directing my ire at a universal healthcare system at the individuals who work there, but rather the limitations put on them by government.
Yeah.
So
it's usually a bureaucracy thing that ruins NHS. Everyone knows this in the UK, especially.
mm-hmm.
What has damaged the NHS more than anything is governments, and I would include any Tory government from Cameron to present, and you go back to Blair as well. You can go back beyond that, in fact. Anyone that it comes in, they introduce. It's the same with your country with new presidents. They sign all these executive orders to change things. The government here will do the same thing if they have a majority. They'll push through a bunch of bills, and they'll introduce new rules, systems, but they won't deal with the old systems, or the old systems won't be removed before they introduce the new one. And as with anything, you introduce a new system, there are teething problems. And unless you address the teething problems, which they clearly haven't, these problems won't go away. And it's a lesson they refuse to learn. Others think the way to solve the problem here is throw more money at it. Now, you can argue by throwing more money at the NHS, you can hire more staff. It's an investment. But what's enough? What's enough? This was an issue when Jeremy Corbyn was campaigning to be Prime Minister in 2019 because the numbers were obscene. And I'm sorry, that's not affordable. So we have to live with the fact we will always have financially restricted NHS. And I guess there's another argument when it comes to aspects of it that are privatised, because there are some parts that are subcontracted to like Virgin or I don't know, Tesla maybe a sweet company, maybe Cadbury's. I don't know. Honestly, I could maybe Cadbury's do the chemotherapy. It'd be fantastic.
I mean, I've seen some companies that weren't necessarily in some fields during this pandemic get into those fields and do remarkably well. So
I'm not surprised.
It's if you're a company and you have manufacturing potential, you theoretically can do pretty much anything.
You know how with foreign aid or charitable donations, a fair chunk of it doesn't go where you want it to go.
Usually, yeah.
Yeah, the same applies here with the NHS. When we pay our health and national insurance, that's what it's called, national insurance. I would like to believe that all goes to the NHS. Really, it doesn't. The NHS's budget is set by the NHS themselves. They're the ones that set the numbers, in fact, although they got it wrong. And a lot of it goes on bureaucracy and subcontracting because of machines or building sites or buildings they have to use that they've rented off a private company, and so we lose money. It's like, what's the freaking point? You can't. There's no point paying into a system that you're not getting everything out of. And coronavirus has done a fantastic job showcasing just how useless the NHS is at the moment. People keep saying clap the NHS. I'm sorry, but in this current climate where I'm constantly seeing articles about the NHS being stretched thin, to then see proof that the Nightingale hospital wards are not as full as you'd think they are, hardly stretched at all, but proper hospitals are stretched. It can't be because of the additional procedures in place that make it so that people can basically not get in now, do you?
No, I can't imagine that would be the case. That would lean into the realm of conspiracy there, Omega.
Yeah. I'll save any. I don't care about conspiracy enough, but it's frustrating. But it's another aspect of what's been going on that I find quite fascinating. And just to give an update, there is still no news on that ruling with regards to Scotland and their referendum. I know that. So we know that Boris on the 22nd will give his statement as a final point on this. It is believed that he is going to try by July, but his own backbenchers have said, no, you're going to start the ball rolling sooner. And I'd very much like that to happen sooner, to be honest. I'm getting really, really annoyed. I'm bored. There's only so many times I can play a guitar, play a video game, and twiddle my thumbs.
Mm-hmm.
Because we can't go out as much, and I have no incentive to go out as much, and it's doing my head in. Yes.
So if we want to change over to American news, your feelings on going out, for instance, are felt by many in this country, but probably not felt by those in Texas right now. For those of you who are not in America, this is a mildly important thing that I wanted to touch on briefly. There are 3 states in the entire United States that don't have snow at the moment. I am in one of them, but Texas, on the other hand, has a particularly bad case of the current cold snap, and it has gotten so bad that I believe it was half of their 23% of the energy created by wind turbines. Those wind turbines have frozen, so that would be 12% of their energy, half of their turbines. Those have frozen solid. And right now you have rolling blackouts in Texas. And talking about the NHS and talking about like policymakers and workers of individual, this is essentially the same problem that exists right now in Texas is similar to what we were just talking about with the NHS, where policies have been put in place to kind of, unfortunately, has led to this vulnerability in Texas's energy system. We have we have a bit of mixed reporting when it comes down to who's really at fault. But what you have objectively is that wind turbines froze, and their gas and oil, basically the other parts of their energy electrical grid, don't have the capability to basically pump it into overdrive to stop rolling blackouts. Now I know that the Texas Department of Energy has talked about potential fixes for it. I believe they were having a news conference on that earlier today. And they have some options that they're going to explore, but I don't know the details of that right now. What you do have right now for the lowly Texan is that there's no food, there's no heat, there's no power. So people are cold and starving. That's not a pretty good look. And in the political realm of all of this, Ted Cruz is in the news. Did you hear about this, Omegon?
Didn't he go off somewhere?
Besides the meme I sent. Yes, he did. His daughter was in a vacation in Cancun, of which he was going to join them. And that was a bad look politically, as most 4 million people in Texas struggle with no power. He's gonna go to Cancun.
The optics of that is not good.
No, it's not. But the meme I sent you is great optics, even though how much of a fucking joke it is. I sent Omegon a meme that said, "Heroic Ted Cruz goes back to Mexico to lasso the sun back to Texas."
Yeah.
And it was him riding on horseback.
Thing is, it would have only been funny had the sun come back with him.
It did though, and that was the
message
that I sent directly afterwards. Yeah,
I did.
If
see
you
that
notice
part.
the message I sent right afterwards, it was me sending the Weather Channel from today
that showed
Houston being sunny. No, I was completely serious. That was me taking that screen cap.
That's brilliant.
So technically, it did work. The sun did come out.
So there's good news,
which is hilarious
for some areas of Texas. That's a good sign, at least.
Yeah, it was like 40 degrees, I think.
That's good
which
for them, isn't it?
Obviously it's. Oh, absolutely. It's the middle of fucking winter. Everything's frozen. I would prefer any kind of.
in Texas, they don't normally get that kind of cold, do they?
They don't get it in the terms of precipitation that they saw. So the several feet of snow, that's unusual. But
Mm.
I don't. I think that their cold situation, it usually 40s as about as low as I imagine it would get. And the only reason I say that is because a lot of the issues that are currently going on in Texas include things like water pipes bursting, which if they had a history of dropping below 30s, you'd expect them to be buried deeper. So I would say no.
So the temperature in in Houston now, 40 Fahrenheit.
Yes. Let
Okay,
me
it's
check
4
the.
Celsius. It's 4 Celsius.
Yeah.
No, I had to look this up because when you said 40, I hear 40 and I'm like, I can't live. I could barely exist in 30. That
Yeah. So
Celsius.
right now it's 47 degrees in Texas, which is 8 Celsius.
Yeah.
So we're doing a little bit better. The worry that I have is that having lived in the north, I know that when you have melting during the day,
Hmm.
usually refreezes over the night,
Yeah.
which causes more icing.
Right.
So that's another issue. And Patriarch mentions flooding. That's not as likely because it takes a hot minute for that stuff to break down. Like especially if it's packed so much, more likely what you get is really really heavy slushy snow. That's
Yeah.
just an absolute dick and a half to
Also,
shovel.
if that ground isn't
Um,
used to absorbing that kind of stuff, it will
mhm.
just run off. It will go straight into the drains, straight to the
Which,
reservoirs.
I mean, Texas, like California, do suffer from droughts from time to time. So it's not a completely bizarre thing to imagine that they would have those issues.
Didn't Houston have an issue a few years back? Was that hurricane?
Um,
It was probably.
okay, so Hurricane Harvey
Oh
had
yeah,
ripped through that area.
yeah. Right.
So yeah, kind
I
of.
know that I saw some tweets, and obviously I feel really bad for anyone who's going through this. Any area of the U.S. Very sorry. People did point out in
Yeah.
particular Texas and their houses. They're not built for this, so people's homes are falling
No, they're not.
apart. And I'm genuinely very sorry, and I hope you're able to get some help. I doubt you will. I know Biden will probably say something and nothing will happen.
Ironically, actually, there's been very little mentioned from the federal government about this.
I'm not
FEMA has
surprised.
declared it is not a emergency, but that's about it.
The only thing I heard from Biden recently was when he was talking at Presidential Hall, or whatever it's called, and he was talking about China and the Muslim issue at the moment in China, and he said it's a cultural thing. I was
Oh
like,
yeah, that was a good one right there.
I was stood here, I genuinely, I was watching that thing, and I was like, wait, what did he just say?
Yes, he said.
I had to rewind and go back, and I was like, I can't believe he actually said that. That is the single
Mhm.
stupidest thing you've said. I'm guessing you're thinking as well
And
with
he said a lot of stupid things.
that's the one I really cared about because in China recently and I've got do I have it still on my desktop? Oh, I don't. There was an article I had. Oh no, I do. Here it is. In China, bloggers and social media stars will now need a license to comment on politics. I don't like controlling media. I don't like controlling people. It doesn't work for me. I don't like the Coronavirus Act, which is by definition controlling the people. I very much don't like this. And so when I hear of somebody in charge of a rather large country like yours, essentially shitting on the people who've been proven to be suffering under the guise of it's a cultural thing, I'm sorry. That's unacceptable. It's kind of pathetic. Never
I'm
mind.
not sorry. Y'all can suck a dick. Um, but that's just me. Calls it as I sees it, I guess. I I worry a lot of the time because right now you actually had what was it? It was some news story that I was listening to this morning, where the a whistleblower from ByteDance, which is the owner of TikTok, was talking about how they had been asked by arms of the Chinese government to censor things in the early times of the coronavirus, to censor people talking about the coronavirus, and also to limit the amount of Uyghurs that were allowed to speak.
Is that the pronunciation?
Uyghur, yes.
Yeah, I didn't know the word. I do appreciate it.
So with all that in the thought process, there's an actual whistleblower from this company saying, yeah, this is real, by the way. It's not a conspiracy. They are in fact telling us to do this. Now, take the whistleblower as you will. If you want some skepticism, feel free. That's acceptable and encouraged. But there's also parts of it that have merit simply by virtue of them being in that position. Also, I wouldn't take that risk if I were going to be a whistleblower for the lulz on the Chinese government. Maybe I wouldn't do that.
Honestly, yeah, no, not a good idea.
That might get you in a camp.
We have enough issues right now trying to get the people of Hong Kong out of Hong Kong. I will stand by my position. I will happily welcome every single person from Hong Kong here. I really will. I don't care. Right? I have no issue with Hong Kong.
I would too.
Right? I will literally. We will
get your shit together.
We will build them a freaking island, and we'll make it look identical to Hong Kong. I promise you, we would do that. Right? We'll just give them London, New Hong Kong. There you go. I don't care.
I'm down.
But China have basically said those passports you've got that are British, not valid. And we're like, you what?
I don't even know how that's possible because British passports are valid.
Yes, it's more what they will recognise as legal travel documentation. They're trying to be arbitrary with it. It's like,
of course.
Okay then. Do we have to send the military in? Because we'll do it. It'd be a fun war.
I really wonder sometimes, like watching the international heat go up on places like China. I sometimes wonder what the lines would be drawn would be. I really do question that because you have one chance. You have one possibility, which is that people would inherently side with China as they control a majority of the debt in this world, right? And concern about a economic fallout, they would back China. At the same time, I see that people could also see this as a way to wipe clean their debt. As likely as that is, which is not very, that is also potentially an option. So, you have individuals who may be more concerned about what their pocketbook looks like, and then there are those who are like, this is a great out. Knowing Americans and how we treat student loans, I feel like they might be on the side of, hey, this is a great out.
Yeah.
But the politicians may not be as in agreement.
Well, we'll see what happens with the UK government on Hong Kong. Because mind you, we want them here. If they want to come here, get over here. They broke the deal. I don't care. You broke your deal, China.
But to run back real quick to the original way that this conversation started. If you are in Texas, please stay safe.
Yes, please.
I hope the best for all of your family. I hope you guys are all doing well. Stay safe. Also, terracotta pots. Put a candle underneath it and sandwich it between two bricks. It's a really good way to actually amplify heat. Also, if you have a tent, lay two blankets on top of it and sleep in there. It's really cozy. If you have kids, it's a great excuse to have a camp out.
If you have a fire pit, create a circle of stones. The stones will reflect the heat.
Very specific kind of stones, like Yeah, just try not to get porous ones. Try to get more of the flat stones. Anyway, so that's my thing on Texas. Hope you guys do well. Now, let's go into the title
Oh, hang on. Let me
of
get
this
the
video.
let me get the memes up. There we go. We've got the memes.
Mhm. Good, good.
What happened?
So, yes, Donald Trump was acquitted, shocking literally no one.
Yeah, well, it was quite
Well,
close.
well, kind of. 47 senators had said even before it started that they weren't going to do it. So it was all political theater from the get-go, but
Hang on, wasn't it?
whatever, I guess.
Wasn't that the 47 votes from the Republicans?
Yes, it was. Hey, do you remember when we did the first impeachment, that comment that Nadler had said that any impeachment basically limited by party lines is basically farcical?
Yes.
Well, yeah, still true,
Can
even on the second go around.
I when I saw the result, I wrote a blog, a short one on Minds. Would you like me to read it to you?
Please, I would love it.
So I've called it, well, this was shite. ... After watching the second impeachment trial of President Trump, I have to admire the lengths many will go to believe that this process was anything but a farce. As an outsider, I've been trying to understand US politics for the better part of 4 years, and in that time, I gathered really early on that no matter what the truth was or is, the votes will always be down party lines if done within the House or the Senate, even if there is a clear and obvious right or wrong answer. This makes it less of a democratic process and more of a poorly executed pantomime. This particular pantomime is loaded with false information, which was verified as such, yet not enough. It seems, as it is loaded with out-of-context statements that weaponize language used by literally anyone, fighting was the word, as a way of setting up an equally embarrassing straw man, and is loaded with a cloud of political bias that refuses to perceive of anything that goes against the ruling party's current message. A message that has been running for 5 years and is still ongoing. Air quotes. Orange man bad. I cringe at the idea of this, and to be honest, I cringe at the idea of those in charge who want to heal a nation with their actions when their actions show them as being the political establishment wasting time and money because they fear the people, which led to Trump in the first place. There were no other factors. I know, but they are afraid, and this trial is proof of that. They fucking lost again, and they lost because they used fake news to try and win. What a crock of shit, and what an absolute sham for a party that wants unity and healing. Childish is the nearest comparison to this, yet it is also the biggest oversimplification for how utterly shambolic it all reeks. Don't think the people will forget the Mueller report, which proved nothing and cost millions. Yet you voted to impeach anyway because the party lines are more important than the integrity of not only the process, but the democracy you claim to be protecting. 4 years, and in that time I learned more about the, air quotes, democracy that leads the world than I'd ever learnt in the many years prior. I'm kind of curious to see how much more I can learn over the next 4 years. I'm sure it'll be enlightening. Finished.
I like it. Very good. Very good. I approve of the entire message here. And you know what's sad is that they know it too.
Yeah, they do as well.
They do. They honestly do. They know all too well that the situation that they keep bringing up is just as farcical and just as much political theater as we believe it to be. Which then begs the question, why, oh, why do you keep doing it?
Yeah,
Well,
I don't get it.
There's a couple of options that have been passed around by different commentators. Some have said that it's to keep the people busy worrying about this hand while the other hand is doing something else, which probably true. I mean, the whole Ted Cruz story was happening at the same time that the FBI was beginning an investigation into Andrew Cuomo having lied about and potentially potentially intentionally murdered everybody who he sent back into nursing homes during COVID.
Yeah.
They are literally beginning a murder investigation for this, and both sides are currently calling for his resignation. But you probably didn't see that on Twitter unless you follow right-wing commentators. You probably saw Ted Cruz trending, though.
I did, yeah.
Which is exactly the fucking point.
I saw him trending twice. Once for the holiday, and the other because of the impeachment trial.
Well, you see, it's important that that kind of stuff get more traction than the actual important things, lest the people find out that the people who they've elected under the guise of "we're here to help" are doing anything but. So, thus we have these issues.
Mm-hmm.
And I would imagine around the time that what was it? He was under impeachment. The actual impeachment hearings were going on. I believe there were constant conversations about constitutional rights, namely a bill that was expressly created to limit the Americans' Second Amendment rights. I believe it is H.R. 147, if I remember correctly. Let me see here. That's the gun bill. 127. Sorry, H.R. 127, which essentially boils down to gun registration for every person who owns a gun, where they keep their guns, how many guns they have, a limit on magazines, a limit on basically every aspect of your right to bear arms. Okay, just for all those who have who have forgotten, the Second Amendment technically reads as follows. A well-regulated militia, being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms, shall not be infringed. Unfortunately, this is, as Clarence Thomas has mentioned, a Supreme Court judge, the bastard stepchild of the Constitution. No one seems to care about this one, and Congress constantly makes laws that infringes on the right to keep and bear arms. So, where do you go from that? I mean, we're hoping that that bill doesn't go anywhere, but that was definitely a major part of what people were needing to not pay attention to while Trump was getting impeached.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there was some other things, maybe something along the lines of, hey, where's that $1,600 though? That's a major thing too. Haven't gotten my money. Have anybody in the chat gotten their money? I bet not.
What's money?
Bullshit, apparently. Bullshit political lies that they tell you that they are going to do something and then they don't, and then people are like, politicians lie, and I'm like, mm-hmm.
Just remember, $2,000 is actually 1,400 after tax.
Yes, plus 600. Yes. Yeah, I've actually kind of wondered what the tax situation is on this, because it's not a tax refund, so it's not necessarily something that like you can write off in your income.
In our country, furlough is treated like wages, but self-employment it's treated like taxable income. So it's earnings, and then I will have to pay tax on that. When it reaches a threshold. I don't know. Obviously, your systems are vastly different, and it's done at a federal level. So this is going to be very, very much. Yeah.
Yeah, it's confusing, right?
I don't get it.
Look, the American tax code is over 9,000 pages long.
Is it?
Our Constitution, I believe, is like 5. We were able to make a country with 5 pages. Some asshole wanted to break down the tax system in enough paperwork to drown you. Wonder why they do that. I don't know. Probably
Mm-hmm.
because lawyers, and
Yeah.
because lawyers need need lawyers too. And job security. If no
Mm-hmm.
one can understand taxes, then they get to keep their job.
Yeah.
Um, so Trump's impeachment, by the way, was it was I don't know if you actually got to watch any of it, but
I did.
it was an absolute fucking mess to watch.
It
It
was.
was so much bullshit that the first day that the fucking Trump lawyers actually came out to play, that was the greatest fucking thing I had ever
So
seen.
I just want
Somebody basically,
to,
yeah, go
before
ahead.
we even get into that, um, I'm going to take this opportunity to address the comment at the start because it's actually
Oh
relevant.
yeah.
I am, if it's addressed, because we think it's addressed to you, but in reality it's still on
Mhm.
my channel. At the
Mm.
start, somebody had said, I have to go and get it off my Twitter. Um, as if this, because this was about 90 minutes before this, well, 2 hours before the stream started. So, as if this is a good thing, reluctantly unsubbed. I really do like your style, but you're out of touch here. Cheers to you, though. No offense intended. No time for Trumpies in my world, though. I'm not a Trumpy, but because of you, I did go and get 20 memes of Donald Trump being acquitted because it made me laugh that somebody had to announce they're being, well, they are unsubscribing. And that's not me trying to be disrespectful to you. You begged the attention. I've given you the attention. My view is this entire process. Well, actually, I don't need to tell you. I read my blog. I don't write blogs very often, by the way. Maybe once a month I write one on Minds. I genuinely, genuinely don't fall into the category of Trumpy. I am but a Englishman, and so I'll support him because it's very funny to me, and I don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. But the point is, you didn't have to declare you're unsubscribing. Grateful you did in the first. You were a subscriber. Don't care anymore now. Have no reason to anyway. I'm not going to try and beg you to come back. But I don't understand how I'm out of touch. Not going to care enough to press on it. Don't care if you see this to then tell me. Trump, sorry. Do you want to add to this?
Yeah, on my end of the thing, I want to start things off with go fuck yourself. Because unlike Meg, I have no qualms telling you exactly how I feel and what I think. Look, first of all, this is not an airport. You don't have to announce your fucking departure. Second of all, I could not care less that someone who is so willing to say no Trumpies allowed in my world, I could not care less what any person who is so delusional has to say. You will forever be in a world where people will disagree with you. And it won't just end with Trump. And it won't just end with Joe Biden being president or this impeachment or anything like that. It's not going to stop. People are going to disagree with you for the rest of your life. If you cannot get past that and say that I cannot deal with the fact that people do not agree with my worldview and that I just simply will refuse to listen to them, so much so that I need to be special, garner their attention, get me talking about it on the actual stream to the point where that's what you wanted. Congratulations. You got the attention you wanted. But by being an absolute fucking disillusioned and absolutely fucking weirdo to imagine that this world is going to exist outside of Trump's world. You are not in two separate worlds. It is the same goddamn world, and Trumpy is not being allowed in your world is the creepiest authoritarian thing I have ever fucking heard. So why don't you go take that, shove it up your diversity and inclusion, and have a fucking nice day.
This has been Trump's TED Talk. By the way, we wanted to mention. I wanted to mention this comment because it does lead into this whole thing, and also we were going to forget otherwise. So perhaps we should continue.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, let's
I'm
get
just
back.
reading the comments now.
Yeah, I'm reading them. I see that. So you got All Hail the God Emperor. To be fair, I put him on thumbnail because I love Italy, okay? They're the ones that made that. Ah.
Yeah, how alt-right of me. It's true. I'm a terrible Nazi who believes in the Jews' right to Israel and who is against anti-Semitism in both the Republican and Democratic Party and against Jeremy Corbyn's anti-Semitism in Labor and all against all these other things and believes that my gay friends should be allowed to have their fucking weddings along with me being able to be there, smoke a joint with a gun strapped to my hip, and I get to enjoy that fucking day.
Yeah. So
how alt-right of me.
Yes, Trups is alt-right. Everyone cancel him. With the impeachment, I noticed there was a request for witnesses. There was a request for a certain Trump to appear. It basically, I mean, he essentially flipped them off and said, "There's no point because this is just an absolute pantomime. It's a charade. It's not even a proper hearing. It's no." They determined, they deemed it constitutional. That was interesting to me. But then I realised also party lines, and so my original point in my blog was correct. There were some 7 Republicans, I believe, who voted to convict, I believe. Is that the right term?
Yes, convict, yeah.
And that led to people like Mitt Romney trending. Many have absolutely railed on him for this. I personally don't care. The fact is, he's been acquitted, which means he can do whatever he wants. I mean, some people said, now you've been acquitted, it's time for the criminal trials to happen. And they're like putting the memes of him in shackles or in an orange jumpsuit, and I'm like, they're not going to go anywhere. You know this.
No, they're not.
It's just, you're just wasting time to stop him from trying to run for office again. That's all you're doing.
Yes.
And he's going to run for office again. Mitch McConnell's been a massive turd, and I think he's going to pay the piper for it. Or he'll suck up if Trump decides to go Republican. I think Trump will win it, the nomination.
Oh, absolutely. There was a poll that came out that said that 74% of people identifying as Republicans want Donald Trump to run in 2024.
I think it'd be the funniest thing ever.
That's a crazy margin.
I think he should, and I think that would then show you true colours of certain.
He'd be like 80.
Will he?
Yeah.
So
he'd be literally the oldest president in our history.
I don't care.
But whatever. I don't give a fuck.
I'm British. I genuinely don't care. It's just too funny for him not to. He could do it and then just be like, I beat him. There's my second term. See you later, guys.
Yeah, basically.
I don't know.
But genuinely, I think that the craziness regarding this, the Trump impeachment, it's not going to stop here. They're going to find anything and everything that they can to make him out to be the bad guy. While at the same time, there's more information coming out every day that proves that he's right.
The Times article, did you see that?
The New York Times or the Time Magazine article?
The one that points out the absolute corruption of the election.
Oh, that was the Time Magazine, the cabal that
fortified
the election.
My life! I saw that and thought, bit late, wasn't it?
Yeah.
welcome to the show, I guess. Okay, well done for catching up.
As early as January, though, which means that that cabal had been in power during the primaries. Which means that cabal got rid of Bernie Sanders. You know, keep that in mind, leftists. This cabal is not here to help you.
No, they're not. It amused me nonetheless. I will admit, the last 2 weeks have been quite fascinating. Watching quite a mess, and I'll be honest, I haven't seen a smile on Pelosi's face, and that, no offense to anyone else, but I genuinely don't find her likable. And most people I've spoken to that are American, Republican, and or Democrat have said the same thing. They don't like her.
She's horrific.
She's a snake. And
yeah, she's actually
unprofessional, a hypocrite, and a bit of a deluded liar, to be honest. And that's been proven over the years of her trying to get him impeached, saying, but we did our part. Yes, you did your part down party lines with evidence that didn't even prove it. Go democracy?
Fabricated evidence at that.
Oh god, yeah, the blue check mark.
Did you see that?
The blue
check mark and the 1
year. Yeah, that was
not only that, but they were
such a fucking lie. Come on,
Mike Lee standing up at the end of like the first or second day and going, prosecution has said this. I want it stricken from the record because I'm the person who said it, and that's a lie.
Yeah, I'm sorry. When they have to backtrack,
and then it was like they were like, "What do we do?" Because fucking what's his face literally did not have a response. Leahy, Patrick Leahy, he did not have an actual response to that because he was so goddamn incompetent as a presiding over this that he just was responding in the way that probably somebody told him to.
Yeah.
But it wasn't how you address the motion. So if the motion says, okay, well, I would like this stricken from the record, then usually you'll ask if the prosecution has a comment, and then it would be without objection, so ordered. But no, he kept saying something about debate and how like the presentations of the individuals are allowed to have a differences of opinion. And Mike Lee was like, there's no opinion here. I'm the witness. I said it, except not that.
Yeah, it's quite amusing when during the entire process on a few occasions they had to withdraw. And I'm stood here like, but the news is reporting this as if they've got him, and they're ignoring this. They're ignoring all the lies. And I'll be honest, it's barely been reported on the lying aspects of it all. In the UK, when it happened, when he was acquitted, Boris called it I think he called it a kerfuffle, because it was just a mess. All of it was, and I'll be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if he thought this was an absolute joke, because there's no way anyone should be impeached again on non-evidence. Again, with the Capitol Hill riots, they claimed he incited violence. Now, there is an argument that he perhaps... when they used the words fight from various tweets, and I'll be honest, since I've seen that used everywhere else by every politician ever, when he said very quietly, "Go home," there was a slight argument that perhaps he wasn't being forceful enough. But I thought perhaps it was actually just him being him and saying it as he would say it. So they had him there, but they didn't have him there. Because it's not a valid point. And he didn't incite violence at all. You argue he did because of the language he used. Language that everyone uses all the time. Again, let's not forget here, so few people managed to do so much more damage than 4 years, apparently, of Antifa and anti-Trumpers. All right.
Maybe the quote unquote alt-right insurrectionists need to teach Antifa how to riot properly. That's all I'm saying.
I'm not going.
Hey, look, they had Antifa since what? Like since right before Charlottesville, wasn't it? And it was in response. It was a Black Bloc, right? It was Occupy Wall Street Black Bloc that then kept migrating more and more. And they had years worth of ways to, get better. They even had training camps. There were people who did sting operations in Antifa and went to their fucking like meetings and whatever. And in a day, people got into the Capitol.
Can you
imagine?
It's quite funny.
It's like devoting your whole life to like something, and like a 14-year-old's like, I figured it out.
Yeah, and by the way, Patriarch of the Sith in the YouTube chat has written, "Behold the Teflon Don." That's yeah.
That's great.
And by the way, I had this image in my head. Um, I had this image in my head of and by the way, I should now say for the sake of disclaimer, Antifa are absolute scum. They're not anti-fascist, they are fascists. Anyone that says they're anti-fascist because it's in their name, you're retards. If you don't like the fact I use the word retard, you're retarded. Okay? They are actually fascists. They used violence, they incited violence, and they encouraged and participated in violence. They are fascists. Okay? And I don't care for them in the slightest. But it's funny how it's been portrayed, right? There was a thing. Oh yes, so I had this image in my head. Do you remember when you did the video? You made the little Stone Cold entrance thing for Trump. Do you remember that?
Yes. Yes.
Now imagine him doing that if he got re-elected in 2024 with 2 WWE World Title belts. It'd look amazing.
Oh God.
It just looked fantastic.
I want to see it now.
I want. If someone can draw that for me, I might talk to an artist. If no one else would be willing to, and get someone to draw Trump with a custom WWE belt on his shoulder with his smug face on it.
With like a big T, like a big DT instead of a WWE.
Well, it could have custom plates on the side, and then in the middle, the center plate could just be the face of him with the really smug expression.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I can see it. I can see it.
I'll talk to somebody. I've got a plan. I'll get this. I'll see if I can get Little East to do it for next Friday.
Good.
Okay. Is there anything else with this?
Not really. It's just people will continue to spurg about this, and honestly, the sentiment from that guy from the very beginning of the stream, it's not a unique thing, which is really sad. I saw plenty of people on Twitter, on Facebook saying the exact same thing. So we are in fact in these two disparate, realities, so to say.
Yeah.
And people legitimately don't have a clue what to do or how to handle it. So
yeah,
fuck me, I guess. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well,
but no, I don't have anything else to say. Okay. So how about you? Do you have anything to shill this evening?
No, I'm not going to shill anything. No, I'm going to be away tomorrow digging 2 meters of land and tire and laying slabs and stuff. So I'm not going to promote much.
Okay, well, you have fun with your digging.
I'm excited.
Yes, I'm going to be moving things into my house. That's equally as fun, I suppose.
Again, congratulations.
Yes, thank you again. But with nothing else to talk about, thank you all for coming. We got past those 50 likes. I really appreciate that. Again, thank you for the donations. Steel Cowboy, I'm going to outright call you out again. Thank you very much for your extreme generous donation. And with nothing else to say, I'm going to say good night. Say good night, Omegon.
This show will be on Spotify tomorrow, and good night, Omegon.
Good night, Omegon.
We are out.